Hi guys, say hi.
Hi guys.
I am here with Eve and I'm going to talk today about how to help your kids understand and manage their worries and anxiety around the coronavirus. Some of us have kids who may be quite young and don't really understand what's going on and aren't fazed by it. Others have kids who are quite sensitive or at that age where they really understand and they're hearing it in the playground. At this time of filming, most of our schools are still open. However, their government's encouraging us to keep our kids home if we can. So we're doing that. And we've been doing that for just this week gone. So it's our first week. So, there's up. I'm going to try and film this because the kids are home and this is how life is going to be. Shh, but you have to be quiet, remember I said? Remember? Because I'm doing a video. So we're going to see how this goes and I might have to just edit it as we go along. So I've written out about 7 really key tips coming from an emotional intelligence standpoint around helping your kids to manage their worries around the virus and all these changes that are happening at this time. So I'll go through them and then I'm going to show you a little resource at the end in case she might wander away. You go play. All right, so as I said, it's going to come from an emotional intelligence perspective because that's what I do. And really at this time, people's emotions are fluctuating. We go from stress and anxiety to thinking, wow, we're home with the kids and we'll enjoy this time whilst we can. And also to how are we going to get all this schoolwork done? So it's a changing time. He's on the phone. Anyway, so the first massive, really key suggestion I can give you, thank you, is to keep the lines of communication open and talk to your kids in an age-appropriate manner around what they're worried about and what they're hearing. Okay, you can write on that side of my notebook with my notes. So I've heard a few parents saying, look, we're not really our kids don't seem fazed. They're in primary school or high school. We are not really going to talk to them too much because we're shielding them. We're just keeping the news off and they're home with us now. And they've heard bits in the playground, so they're getting information and they don't seem too worried. I would come from the approach of we don't know what our kids are really feeling or thinking inside. Me, for one, when I was younger, I kept a lot inside and I would go away with my own thoughts and I snowballed them and I developed anxiety and it's because I didn't talk about my emotions. Don't kick my coffee. So that's a really, I think something to remember is that, and really like in my family, we didn't talk a great deal around emotions and how you're feeling and, what can you do about, if you're upset. I think a lot of kids sometimes keep things inside, and when you don't understand something as a kid, if you don't say, I don't know what this is, I help me understand it, sometimes they will just bottle it up or it will come out in a behaviour. So, a lot of behaviour is communication. It's the whinging, it's the clinginess, it's the, bugging us, or the, it might come out as anger and frustration and sibling rivalry, but really they're communicating that they need attention or they need love and compassion. And at this time, I think kids have, their limited understanding. And if we're not explaining and answering questions and openly saying, do you have any questions for me? Do you want to talk about the virus? Do you know why we're staying home so much? Do you know why we've got to be so careful at the shops? And how does that make you feel? Are you worried about anything? Let's chat about it. You can come to me at any time with questions. So I know that seems really on the surface. She's got a pen and she's drawing right near the couch. Please don't do that. It seems really basic, but I think a lot of parents probably miss the depth of communicating with your kids. So that's my first one. Talk to your kids. If you haven't now, just go and do it. They're understanding. They're not going to be like, why are you talking to me about this? They'll be like, oh yeah, okay, give it a go. Even if you think they seem pretty fine and chilled, you don't know. So talk to them about it. Okay. I need this, Eve. I need to do number 2. You get different paper. All right, so my second point kind of flows on from that first one. It's really having open, honest chats and having age-appropriate conversations with your kids. So you're going to talk to a 4-year-old who's in, let's say, preschool age differently to an 11 or 12-year-old. They understand more about science and biology in the body, and they have a better range of emotional vocabulary, and they're able to have that anticipating or foreseeing the future and what may happen, so those possible outcomes and things like that. So they may have more questions around what's going to happen. Are you going to get sick? Are we going to get sick? So answer those questions, but give them age-appropriate information. So for a 5-year-old, my son is 5.5, and we've talked to him about we have to stay home because there's a virus that's like a cough and a cold and a flu, and it spreads really easily. Wait, is that my paper that I need? Oh, no, that's not. You can draw on that. Can you do it on the coffee table? Because I don't want it to go on the couch. So I've given him age-appropriate information. I've asked him if he wants to ask me questions. Eve, on the couch, please. On the coffee table. Thanks. Not on the Lego mat. It'll be bumpy. Anyway, so yeah, really telling him at 5.5, we have to stay home because it's really easy to catch this virus, and at the moment a lot of people have it. We need to wash our hands. We need to not go out to the shops as much where people are, because that's how easily we can get it. And if one of us get it, we probably won't have many symptoms at all. We'll just get a tiny bit sick, like a cold, but we don't want to pass it on to Granny and Pa, and potentially they might get a bit more sick because they're older. So, and we have like the big book of the body in his bedroom, which he loves, and so I've got that out and looked at it with him, and it's got bits about cold and sneezes and stuff like that, and so I've referenced that, and I use age-appropriate language, and I talk about germs and bugs, whereas with older kids you can talk about virus and spreading and prognosis and that kind of stuff. No, don't touch my tripod. No, leave it. This is fun. Okay, so the third one is, talking to them about what might happen if they get sick. So this kind of flows on, talking about how, the severity, whether it's mild or severe, and what they might expect, and why it's so important to wash our hands. Like, I've got a couple of friends who've reached out to me and said, my son or daughter is really anxious and worried that I might die or that he might die. And, those anxieties are more than the normal worries about getting sick. They're more severe, worrying about someone in your family dying. But they're really understandable. And for kids who don't have the world experience that we do with, we know about SARS and MERS and Spanish flu and all the other viruses and things and diseases, and we know about vaccinations, like our kids don't have that understanding. So we have to, in an age-appropriate way, explain to them the likelihood of getting it, the risk, the potential severity, and just saying, look, we're going to be okay. If we take all these precautions and we wash our hands and we don't go out much and we wear masks, and we don't see our Granny and Pa as regularly, we'll be okay. And if you ever have questions, come and talk to me. And, I think a part of it is, as well as talking, is really having some in the moment anxiety relieving strategies that you can use. So they might be things like grounding exercises. You can look up some of those online, things, let's distract my brain right now from my worries and ground me. What are 5 things I can see, 5 things I can smell, 5 things I can hear, 5 things I can touch. Those kind of things, and I'll mention about the resource at the end, which has something like that in it. But also, some calm, deep breathing. I teach my kids to put a hand on their heart and take deep breaths and close their eyes and feel their heartbeat and be really still. And also, I don't know if you guys are aware of, put your foot down, please. EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping. So tapping on meridian points. And that can be a calming, like a physiological calming activity as well for kids. And also, things like having a hug or going into a room and and reading a book and taking their mind off things like that. So number 4 is around really keeping positive as a family, because I know a lot of us have lost jobs. This is going to be really noisy. Eve, that's too noisy. Can you do something quiet? Because I'm doing a video. No, do something quiet, please. No, quiet. So keeping really positive. Like I was saying, a lot of people have lost jobs, and that is very, very stressful. I know my husband's work has essentially closed. Eve, do it quietly, please. And so that is really stressful on us, but we are careful to talk about serious stuff like that at a time when the kids aren't around. We try not to watch the news as much as we would have beforehand, because that's really negative. Okay, coming back. This is fun. So yeah, keeping really positive, because kids pick up emotions. It's emotional synchronicity, and they can feel our energy when we're stressed and when we are overwhelmed, and when we're in that state, we are more likely to snap and be snappy and be less tolerant and flexible with our kids anyway. So try to keep as positive as you can. And a really good thing, a strategy, is to not engage in watching the news and looking at it online, and all the flood in our feed around the coronavirus too, and all the statistics. So that's another one. Number 5 is around keeping as much as possible a routine at home with the kids. So even though our normal routine is out of whack because we are now home and a lot of us are working from home and we've got schoolwork for the kids, you can take this time to be excited around creating a new routine, one that fits your family. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. If everyone's smashing out all the schoolwork, and if that's not you, that's cool. Whatever works for your family at this time. I saw something online the other day, and it said, in 2030, an adult will remember this time as stressful, overwhelming, really worrying, no money, and just a crazy time of managing stuff at home and having no work. And a college kid or a uni, a kid who's older, who was, say, 10 at this time in 2020, will remember it being the best time of their life, because they were home so much. They played with their parents. Their parents took the time to engage and interact with them, and they were doing stuff as a family together and enjoying this time. So how good would that be if we created that and had the intention for that environment with our kids, rather than having, loading that stress and just having a stressful few months. This could go on for 4, 6 months or longer. Let's create that intention to have an enjoyable time with our family and create a new routine. So what works for you guys in terms of in the morning, if you want to smash out a bit of schoolwork and you take time to sit with your kids and put your own work aside, if that's possible, so that you're not trying to go from here to there with your own work. Okay, what do you need? Come on, I'll help you. And I've got my own work to do. Come on. When you're doing a task, whether it's the schoolwork with your kids, be in there, be present and focused. And show them, I want to spend time with you. I enjoy doing this with you, and I'm glad that you're home so we can spend time together. So send your kids that message. Number 6 is talking to your kids about what you can and can't control. And I do this with the kids I work with, and I talk about it in my workshops. I say, even as adults, there are things that we know we can and can't control, but we sometimes forget that. So if we remind ourselves and teach our kids that there are things in life that we can control, and if you can control this, what can you do about it? And if you problem solve with them then. And if it's something you can't control, no, you can't come out to the shops with me today, I'm just ducking out to Woolies and I need a few things and it's safer for you to stay home. If they can't control that, okay, problem solve. I know you really want to come, and you can't for these reasons. What do you want to do instead? Let me set you up with something whilst I'm gone, or with your partner, get them to do something. So talk to your kids about what they can and can't control, and that gives them a bit of understanding and reduces some of that anxiety as well. So my last one is, I've kind of touched on this already, it's modeling a calm environment. So I think having that intention in this space at home to be relaxed and as much as possible and be calm and enjoy the time that you've got with your kids as much as possible. Being calm the kids will pick up on that as well, like I said before. And coming with the dogs. And that will make a huge difference, because it's a bit like a loop. When you're calm and your kids pick up on that and they go about their day and play, and yes, they'll get into like sibling tussles and stuff like that, but that will in turn make you calm because your kids are more or less getting on with things and enjoying their time and being creative. And so that doesn't add stress to you. If you're stressed and worried and anxious and feeling a bit isolated, then your kids pick up on that. Their behaviour shows, like, guarantee you, they're going to be more clingy, more whingy, more arguments with siblings, and then that's going to give you more stress. So that's kind of my last tip around modelling some calm and modelling that I'm excited to be here with you. You know, it is a bit of a treat that you're not going to school, so let's spend this time together and enjoy it. So they're kind of my 7 tips, I guess. I did want to just go a little bit further into those kids, particularly who have anxiety around the virus. I just want to stress talking to them and, you know, teaching them some good emotional vocabulary. We say name it to tame it. So talking about how they're feeling, not just happy, sad, angry, but isolated or lonely or missing their friends, my son said, and, you know, feeling worried or uncertain. Like, giving them that vocabulary gives them the ability to tell you how they're feeling rather than showing you in behaviour. And with the older kids who have that understanding, you can, you know, look at some, find some kids, you know, like behind the news, like kid-related news or kid information online about the virus, to give them that information and knowledge. Like, knowledge is power. And also some of those real in-the-moment techniques to reduce anxiety as well will be really powerful for them. So as well as talking to them, give them stuff to do and say, let's do it together now. Let's do the tapping, or let's do some yoga. Let's do some mindfulness. Let's do some breathing and, you know, things like imagining, visualizing something really good and happy and exciting, or a place to be that's calming. So there's a lot you can do. The last thing I wanted to show you guys was I've still got, as of now, today's Saturday, this is my kids at home resource pack, and I've got it up just for a short time at no cost on my website. And it's over 20 pages of really cute, fun activities that kids can do at home to keep little hands busy. It's best for kids kindy to year 2, that's 5 to 8. And it's just something that some of the stuff you can leave with them and get them to do and then go away. Others you'll have to kind of read through the instructions and help them with. But there's emotional intelligence activities, of course. There are literacy and language, fine motor and craft, gross motor, numbers, numeracy, and mindfulness. There's a few mindfulness activities at the end, which is really cool. So this is an awesome resource pack. I'm going to be... That's too loud, pop it. I'm going to be creating a set of these and getting them up really soon in the next week, I hope. On my website. If you guys are interested, hop on to stephaniepinto.com. It's still free as of right now. I think to the end of the weekend it may be. And then it'll be a really low cost item. But I've been getting within less than 48 hours I had over 300 downloads. So and it's still going. I'm getting little notifications. So that's exciting. Grab it now, guys. Let me know if you want any other information or tips. I'm going to be, over the next few weeks, getting some experts in their field around parenting and emotional intelligence and conscious parenting, and similar topics, experts to come on and do lives or do videos here, and interviews in the group as well. So I want to give you guys heaps of really cool information and conversations to follow along with. So I'm going to leave it there because my lounge room is now a mess. And yeah, reach out to me, guys, if you want any other information, and stay tuned for the other resource packs that are kind of going to come out to keep us busy during this crazy virus outbreak. I hope you guys are all well. I hope your families are all well. Stay safe, stay indoors. I assume very soon we'll go into lockdown here in Australia, and I just hope everyone is really careful. You can't be too careful, right? Just keep your families and your little ones safe. All right, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.